Alright, and welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. And we've made it through Hurricane Elsa. Should be looking at picture of my driveway and my front yard. Or rather a quick video. And then here's a little bit of what we can see out of the backyard here. But the hurricane passed about 40-50 miles west of us last night around 11 o'clock. And for some reason we got the worst of the rain this morning. That was this morning. Had a lot of rain very quickly. Caused some flooding, but other than that, not much went on. And then, when I was surveying the damage, there wasn't any damage, but when I was just surveying, a couple plants did get knocked over here and there and everything. It was tropical storm winds out there, but I came across this root over rock guy I've had, and this actually was started. This was started as just a little twig out of the stump of one of those little ginseng ficuses, even though they're not ginseng ficus, it's a Ficus Microcarpa or whatever, but it fell out of one of those when I was trying to manipulate and wire one of those, and it just came out, had a little piece of roots with it, and I had this little rock, and I had a little tiny black pot that was like right around the size of that rock, and just stuck it in there, rock and the little cutting, and left it, about a year or something like that. And then one day I just kind of noticed that it was about exploding out of there, and pulled it out and put it in this pot here, and it's been a decent looking tree ever since. Hasn't grown all that much. I've actually been waiting kind of impatiently for these to, they're just about there now, where these were going to get long enough to wire. But I started noticing that it's kicking itself out of the pot, is coming towards me a little bit here, or towards the back of the room here. You can see here that it's not straight in there. And it still looks good from all the way around here. That foliage is kind of blocking a little bit, but it doesn't look bad. But it definitely has not been holding itself very straight in the pot. And I made a little mistake. When if you see those original pictures, there really wasn't that much to tie it to. I just kind of got it in there, but I didn't have this for screening. I didn't have this for screening for the holes yet. I used some little bits of window screen, and I think some of those, I think the one just kind of came loose, and I think it's the root that just kind of pushed it out of the way there, and it's been losing a little bit of substrate, and it's been losing substrate on this side, but I'm not sure why that's kind of making it fall this way. But I'm going to have to get in there and fix it a little bit. So I'm going to pull it up out of there. I'm going to see what we got. And then I'm either going to put it, this is a little, somebody actually brought a plant over, a seedling in one of these. I looked up on Amazon where they got them from, and I bought some. It's a nice little training pot. If it doesn't have a hold of the rock, I'm going to bind it to the rock a lot better and just get it in a training pot for a little while. It's a little bit deeper than this one. It's right around the same size. Or I'm going to put it, if it's got a good hold of the rock, but it seems like it needs something bigger, I'm going to put it in here, a little bit of a bigger pot. A little deeper, a little bigger, not by much, but give it a little more room to grow. Or just depending on how nice it looks or whatever, how good of a hold of the rock it's got, I might even just put it right back in here where it was. I'm going to kind of just leave that open as I go here. But one thing I did want to just kind of show was that as this thing's been growing, it is losing some of the substrate down through where that screen has gotten out of place there a little bit. I'm pretty sure it does have a hold of the rock, because you can see it's actually got it suspended in the air. The rock is not even resting on the substrate anymore. It's just kind of suspended in the air, and it actually has a grip on it there. So I think I'm gonna keep it in a decent pot of some sort. I don't think I'll have to bind it to that too much, because it should be bound already. It's gonna have to work really slow and careful. I think what I'm gonna find is I do see there's a little tiny root here that does not have a hold of it. I think it's this piece right here that has a hold of it. I know I don't want to rock it from side to side, but I think what I'm going to find is that this piece is just kind of probably at least wrapped halfway around. I mean, I might find circles and circles and circles, and of course I'd have to cut it off, but we'll just go ahead and see what it is here. Let's see. And it definitely followed right around the edge of the pot. Seems as if I hold it by the rock, it's not going anywhere. So we got nice and wet. It rained 6 inches yesterday. Well, yesterday and this morning, I think combined, maybe a little more. Alright, so I took the old pot away and just threw all that substrate away. Put screens in this one. Put screens in this one, put a little soil in there in the bottom. Now, as I look at it, you know, there's all kinds of little hairy roots coming off the bottom of there. I hate to lose them, but there is a little tiny root that kind of comes a little more like right under the rock, which might be a little bit of a better the idea. I don't know if you guys can really see that there's actually an indent there where it is grown on the rock on top. A little, if you guys can see the little aerial root popping there or not. But I did decide I'm going to have to, especially to get it, because then if I do that, it almost sits right on top again, and it's just going to keep pushing itself up. But what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do this. I might try to plant that. I haven't had any luck with Microcarpa, but we'll see what happens. But now, we did have that. There's another little ball of roots that were going under, and that was helping to keep that in place there too. Now, let's just see how this one goes. Won't have quite as much of the rock showing, but it's just a sacrifice you got to make. The way that rock was showing, it was almost like it was picking up the rock anyway. I don't know if it was quite that deep on those original pictures or not. Now, it's too bad I got to keep this in the shade for a few days. So I'd really like to, put it where the sun would be on that side, so these branches start straightening out just a little bit. But got it in there a little bit straighter now, and they're pretty solid. Now I have to leave it where the wildlife can't get to it for at least a couple weeks on this one. It's a little more unsteady than most are, but it won't take long to root itself in. A lot of people, they defoliate when they repot. I might actually defoliate some of these lower leaves. Definitely want to leave. That might stimulate a little bit of growth. But when you leave the leaf tips, that's I guess the tips have the auxin, which signals the root to grow, so I just cut off that big chunk of root there, so leave the auxins in place and signaling the plant to grow roots. You can see, well, you guys probably can't, but towards the end of these. A couple of these are already getting a second branch. So if it stays healthy, I should be ready to put some wire on this very soon. And taking these older leaves out also should kind of help with the signal to growing roots. Alright, and now it's a lot more solid in this pot here. You can see it's a lot straighter in the pot. Hopefully by me cutting off that big root. There's this root here, and there was also a little bit of a bigger one, almost pencil sized, right in the middle that I don't really know if I ever got any good angles for you guys to see or not, but hopefully that'll also cause that to grow a little bit more. Straighter in there again. That root, you know, it seems to have grown more than the canopy has. It'll probably put a shit back up out of there again, but it's always kind of interesting to see how they progress and everything. Thanks for watching. See you next time.